All right. So we're going to start off. Nick, can you explain to anybody who may not know what the product is, what SITU360 is?
Sure. SITU360 is it's a 360 experience and journey creator tool. So it's a web platform where you log in, you upload your 360s, and then you can link them together into a journey, add graphics, hyperlinks, link out to e-stores, web information. So it's basically a place where you can create anything in 360. You can either show off 360 photos, 360 videos, brands can do branded experiences, kind of a whole range of things, all based around 360.
I remember I looked on the website and I saw some, I think it was more the business side of things, where you had sort of empty billboards up and people would put up their designs and be able to look at that. Was that a different side of the same product?
Yeah, that's right. So Situ started life as um, an advertising visualization tool. Essentially, a creative agency or a media agency could get on to Situ. They could go through our library, choose roadside or retail or airport, what transit, any sort of out of home face, and visualize their creative and design the creative around the environment that it was going to be seen in, because out of home was it has this problem where people can't visualize what it's going to be like very easily because it's hard to mock up. So this gave advertising agencies the ability to do that. So that's where it started life. And then as we developed features, it kind of grew into more of it's still a B2B tool, but it's also developed into a B2C as 360, I guess, becomes more popular for creators and enthusiasts and influencers and that kind of thing.
hmm So I looked on the community side of things and I played through. I think I watched you play some golf. Um, do you see this as being something that content creators pick up and try to make their content in, or do you see this as something that sort of any old hobbyist could jump into?
Um, I think right now it's more of a content creator piece.
hmm
I think as 360 becomes more usable for everybody in terms of getting from the camera onto a computer, because that can be a bit of a leap for some people.
hmm
It will certainly become more of I'm just shooting my family in the garden sort of home video
hmm
thing. But at the moment, there are a lot of reasons for me putting together that experience, playing some golf, being down at the beach,
hmm
was I bought the new GoPro Fusion, had to play around with it, and enjoyed a day being out. It's not necessarily how I'm going to use it moving forward, but anybody from 360 photographers who do super fine art, all the way to vloggers who literally just want to experience, share their life with you.
Mm. I saw, weirdly enough, my mate actually he made a random guess when he looked at the video. I'm like, oh, I bet that's a GoPro Fusion.
Right.
Um, have you used a variety of different 360 cameras, or is that your main one?
Yeah, so we haven't used a huge cross section, but we started with the Z Cam, which is sort of a semi-pro, 3.5, 4, $5,000 camera from Hong Kong, and that's fantastic. Just a little bit, not very point and shoot as such. And then we've used the Nikon Key Mission, the Insta360 ONE, which is fantastic as well. But we needed something that was a little bit better than the Insta360 ONE,
hmm
but not as expensive as, say, the Insta360 Pro, which I'd like for a professional tool.
Mm.
But the GoPro Fusion, in terms of the quality, the price, the ease of use, just fits really in the sort of the sweet spot for us. And we can use it for, and things like the stabilization is insane. We can really use it for vlogging or sort of photography in a way. Mate, the resolution might not be perfect for photography, but it's pretty good for the on the go stuff. So yeah.
Mm. Your guys' content actually got me looking on YouTube for 360 videos, specifically the GoPro Fusions, and I've found a new niche that I really love, and it's people who buy drones and hang the GoPro Fusion below it and have the 360 view over cities. It's my new
Yeah,
favorite thing.
pretty amazing. I know. And when they, because they paint out
Mm.
the the drone amazingly well, and suddenly you're just sort of dangling in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing holding you up. It's pretty cool.
Um, well, look more towards you. Where did you start off? Were you always interested into this sort of VR, AR business side of things?
I started as a 3D animator about 15 years ago, working in TV, and then I started my own production company called Airbag, and that's still going. That's a Melbourne-based production company, which has grown to about 12, 13 commercial directors now. A couple of my other partners, and so I was a TV commercial director, visual effects supervisor at Airbag and co-founder. And inside Airbag, we started doing virtual reality and augmented reality projects for clients. And that's where I kind of started about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And that's where I really started picking up my love for VR, AR, and 360. And so we were always looking for a way to create a business around that sort of tech. And we we're trying all sorts of things, augmented reality furniture, tools, and 360, so 3D walkthroughs of property. And I eventually just realized it's great technology, but there's still a lot of production is required to go into that. And what we wanted to do was create a tool that anybody with a 360 camera could go shoot, upload, create an amazing experience, and do it on the web. You could, if once you've used the platform a couple of times, you can create a pretty cool experience in half an hour. And so that's kind of where we went. We did the whole gamut of complicated, convoluted experiences, and I think there's some pretty amazing products coming out from there. But we really, because of our past, we're very, me especially, I came from a very render heavy 3D background. And, renders, each frame takes 2 hours, and then got to composite it together, and there's a lot of post-production involved. And I just wanted to strip all that away and get people using 360, because the biggest problem right now is that it's a growing medium, and headsets and tools are becoming a lot more prevalent, but it still takes a lot of skill and learning to do. And that's kind of what we've tried to, I don't know, wipe out of the way with SITU.
Well, it's just a sort of a bridge for beginners to get into it.
Yeah.
I know when you look at sort of the overarching 360 VR AR, they are some fairly scary words to what will essentially be hobbyists to get into it. Do you see, looking towards the future, virtual reality, augmented reality, do you see them working more together, or one of them out competing the other one?
I mean, I don't see them as competitors as such. Augmented reality is, I think, going to be a lot bigger, but it's got entirely different uses. I mean, augmented reality can fit into our daily lives with a set of glasses and change how we interact with everything day to day, minute to minute, whereas virtual reality is more of a single person experience. And for me, I mean, there's absolutely a place for it. Gaming, any sort of content, experiencing content anywhere. I mean, you could have the entirety of YouTube in the 360 sense, as a all-encompassing experience. But I don't think they're competing for one another. Yeah. A lot of people talk about what's going to get there first. Virtual reality is going to get there first because the technology is easier to master, but augmented reality has a much bigger marketplace once it becomes a real thing. That's my take on it.
Fair enough. SITU specifically, I see there's a bit of talk with the VR stuff with SITU. How do you see that marrying together?
So depends who you're talking to and who's listening to you. So VR, if you talk about VR and 360 in the same sentence with tech heads and people who know it, they'll say 360 is not VR. And I tend to agree. I mean, SITU is very much a desktop tool with the ability to go into headsets. So, I picture a lot of our users being inside SITU on a desktop or on a mobile, on the train or wherever it might be, and experiencing cool, journeys or experiences that people have put together from around the world. And you can just experience that on your phone while you're on the tram or at work, and you can put things together. If you have a VR headset, you can jump into it. You can then experience these things in fully immersive VR environment. In terms of situ and spatial VR, so the 6 degrees of freedom, that's not something that we're going to be doing, because situ really is, once again, it's that barrier to entry. We want to make sure there's no for anything. As soon as you go 3D and there's 6 degrees of freedom, the barrier to creation is very high, and that's what we're trying to keep away from. Maybe we will create an easy to use creator for more the professional scene, but that's not really it. So we're very much about 360. Mainly, well, it could be pre-visualized 360, but mainly photographic 360. Yeah.
So it's more 360 that happens to go in a headset, not specifically designed VR stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Moving forward, you've done, I think I just looked at it like an hour ago, you had like 3 or 4 different stories that you'd created on the community site. Is there one that you had particular fun going out and doing? I know one was in like a vlogging style, and there was the golf and the beach one. Is there one that you sort of preferred doing?
I mean, this in terms of the content creation, we've been shooting 360 a lot, more in a business sense. So the vlog and the community creation is a brand new thing for me. Actually, the most fun I've had, I'm just putting it together at the moment. I went and shot it yesterday, and I'm just creating an experience to put on. Is a tour of Melbourne alleyways, it's basically the artwork within the alleyways. So I just scooted around Melbourne for a couple of hours shooting some cool alleyway art, because there's a lot in Melbourne, and putting that together. So far, that's the most fun I've had. But just things like, say, on the beach, playing some golf, being down on the beach, just looking for interesting places to put the camera. There were waves splashing all over the place, and because the GoPro is waterproof, I was like, oh, I'll just stick the camera down there, and it doesn't really matter. So things like that is great fun, obviously, but I'm just kind of enjoying getting my mind a bit open to this. Is not just like a normal camera. I mean, there's no way to hide in 360. You put the camera down. You can't just kind of stand behind it and frame the perfect shot. You put it down, and it's a whole new take on things. So I'm literally enjoying every one of them that I make. They've started a bit lo-fi. I'm improving the quality and the reasoning behind them. But no, it's good fun.
Can you talk us through the creator specifically? So if someone was to come along, they have their own 360 photos, their own 360 videos, how would they go about getting it on your platform and creating an adventure?
Yeah, so there's kind of 2 steps to that, 2 very easy steps. You log into the community website, sign up with an email and a password, and then there's a create button. You hit that, it opens the creator app. And then from there, there's a button that says upload your 360. You can also choose from our library, which at the moment is a little bit limited, but you click the upload your video, it uploads, and you can start dragging and dropping waypoints and graphics, URLs, hotspots, and there's a title creator in there as well. So it really is a matter of click to upload, find it on your hard drive, it will upload, it'll process the video at the same time. So you can use MP4s and QuickTimes at the moment, but it compresses it into a Situ format, and you're literally ready to go.
It seems super easy. I think I was watching the walkthrough videos on YouTube, and it seemed easy enough to just biff on a click point, go to another one.
Yeah.
And
then that's the thing, it's very easy to make something that's either way too technical and pro featured, or just not featured enough. So if you design it in a way that's super simple to use, often the features just aren't there. It's not feature rich. But if you just go helpful with all these features, it becomes a pro. So we've spent a lot of time getting that right. And from a creator point of view, dragging and dropping waypoints is very, very easy. And from an experiencer, somebody who's on there just wanting to have a look at things, it once again is very easy. You see the icon, you click on it, and you go there.
for the obviously the community site just being launched now, but if we're taking it steps forward and we're looking into the future, what do you see the way going forward for Situ being?
Um, I mean, there are a couple of angles for us. We, as I said earlier, still a B2B solution, so advertising agencies, brands doing brand experiences. That's very much still a part for us. From the community platform point of view, it's a place where people can. The most obvious example really is the YouTuber 360. There's what we're trying to create is a place where people share their experiences, share their artwork. We don't necessarily want just anything and everything to be piled in there. We do want people to be, I guess, creating inspiring and meaningful experiences. I would like to see people from all walks of life around the world creating their own personal journeys, whether that be just a still from a holiday that they went and took, or a full walkthrough of, I don't know, the new house that they've just bought because they want to show it off because it's fantastic. Anything like that. And one thing that I really enjoy is listening to vloggers and watching vloggers in 360 because it really opens up what they're doing. It's not just, being a storyteller from a traditional editing background this goes against everything that I've always done. You cut to something meaningful as you're speaking about it, and then you cut back, and that gives a point of impact. You can do that with 360, but with Situ, we're trying to make it so that it's completely user interactive journey. So you're, what do you call it? Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And for me, and that's another thing that always drove us. The choose your own adventures stories as kids were just these fantastical, amazing places to be, and you could, drive it yourself. And that's kind of what we're trying to create as well. A bit of that sense of wonder.
Yeah. On the business side, you say businesses, in terms of the main platform, is where the target was. Do you find that you have to go pitch it to businesses, or businesses would come to you?
We're getting both. We're doing a lot of, even when businesses come to us in these early days, we like to then go out to them and pitch to them and show them how to use it. Because it is a reasonably new concept, people do struggle to get a real good grasp of what it does. As soon as they see it, you can just see them sort of opening their minds. But we're getting traffic coming from a whole bunch of social media posting, people coming to us from we started with advertising agencies, and then suddenly we've got people from logistics and from education, from law, coming to us saying, I could really use this for training new employees, immersive induction for new employees, or the legal profession saying we need to go out on site and do site surveys, and having this in 360 so that you can show stakeholders in more of an immersive environment would be fantastic. So there's literally a whole gamut of, from a business point of view, a whole gamut of people coming to us saying, I know you're pitching it at this, but I could certainly use it for this. So that's really interesting to see.
So a lot of the time you said, obviously people need to look at it to understand it. Do you find that initially there's any pushback from people who don't understand, obviously, the platform, or may have some resistance to the newer technology?
There's no pushback as such. There's certainly confusion at times, and as we're, say, in a meeting, the first 5 minutes, if they don't know much about VR and 360, you can see there's a bit of I'm not really getting it. And as soon as you show them, I mean, we've been in meetings where there's been a little bit of not really sure. And then you show them, and then you do something that resonates with them in their business or them personally. Everything changes. Suddenly phones are picked up. John, you need to come down and see this. This is amazing. And, things start happening. So we've not had really any reaction of, I don't see where I could use it. It's endlessly positive. It's just a matter of getting across to them how we see it working for them personally or for their business, and then them having to tweak, and that it always happens just some right at the start, some a bit close to the end.
Yeah, because going to just VR, like in general, moving away from the 360 side of things, it's it seemed like there was sort of a lip where nobody understood it, and then all of a sudden HTC Vive came out, everybody's doing it. There's games everywhere. You go to a convention, Beat Saber's going to be over here, and it
Yeah.
just exploded. Um, did you find initially that it was a little harder, and then all of a sudden people started to get it as a general whole, or do you think this sort of 360 marketing is still people are still clouded about it in general?
Um, almost almost the opposite actually. So what we're finding is that um, people people get 360. They don't necessarily get what we're doing with it and the interactivity behind it. But what we found was people because 360 it's been used for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
it just hasn't been used right.
Yeah.
And so back 5, 6 years ago, it was being used for all these gimmicky purposes. I mean, it's the same with everything in terms of AR, VR, and 360. Um, and it sort of did itself an injustice. So people were using it for gimmicky reasons. And when we go in and talk to people, now they say, "Oh, but it's just it's just a tourist gimmick kind of thing." And as soon as we show them what we agree entirely, it's what did happen. But now it's kind of come of age. It's easy to use from a shooting point of view. It's easy to use from a software point of view. And now it's kind of your world's your oyster. So we're finding that people understood how it was used, didn't like it, rebelled against it, and now we're re-educating them as to why it is useful. And yeah, the just to reiterate, they're not understanding initially the interactivity part, which is what we're kind of offering. Everybody thinks we're doing stitching software, or somebody thought we were doing the headset. We created the headset. It's just getting them into the fact that it's kind of a YouTube / iMovie of 360 kind of combined. So that's where the difficulty mainly is.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to people about SITU or anything else?
I mean, about SITU, from a community point of view, we're just super stoked to have it live. We're developing the mobile support right now, which should be ready in about a week and a half, because a lot of traffic's coming from mobile, and we just want people to jump on and start creating and share their thoughts and their ideas. Firstly, to grow the community and influence others to get out of the house, get off the couch, and start creating stuff. But also to feedback to us, how, because everybody who uses it in a different way, and we'd love to see how people are using it and get their feedback so that we can design and develop new features and just build a tool that's super easy, super useful, and I guess globally relevant as well.
All right. Thanks a lot for taking time out of your day to talk to us.
No worries. Thanks for that.
All good. Hopefully you have a good one.
You too. See you, mate.
See ya.